Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Monday, April 27th, 2020, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2020 House elections as we move into the presidential election year. So essentially, we're going to be taking a look at the updated Cook Political Report expectations for the 2020 House, recently updated just a couple days ago on April 24th, 2020, and it shows an interesting look at where the races are rated. As of right now, Cook Political Report says that the Democratic Party will hold on to the House Representatives according to their current projections, with 22 seats up for grabs, 5 on the Republican side and 17 on the Democratic side. This is their map from 2020, so January 24th. I don't think this is updated on the website. I'm using yet another politicalmapsimulator.com. But right now I'm going to be taking a look at the really interesting map here, because it shows a number of the contested seats on the side. By the way, subscribe if you guys haven't already, like the video, comment down below. I usually say that at the end of the video, but sometimes people just either skip to the end or watch the very beginning, so might as well say it at both. But looking at this House Representatives map, it's very similar to, obviously it is the same landscape as 2018, disregarding the state of North Carolina, which actually has 2 new Democratic districts. So those are actually rated already in the Democratic column: North Carolina's 2nd and North Carolina's 6th district. So the Democrats will have 5 seats if they hold every seat in their column. I'm assuming, since there's 3 safe seats. I don't see any North Carolina here. I don't see any here, so just those 2. Yeah, so I'm assuming that they're going to have 5 Democratic seats and 8 Republican seats. But when you take a look at the generic ballot, polling data, it's very similar to what we saw in 2018, which means that we likely could see another Democratic wave in the House, or just a Democratic hold in the House Representatives, pretty much no red wave whatsoever. If you look, 48% for the Democrats and 40% for the Republicans. So how similar was that to 2018? Well, in 2018, the Democrats had 50.7% and the Republicans had 42%. So throughout the entire campaign season, it was still always a Democratic victory. It was still a Democratic lead, but at this point in the campaign season, if we take April 27th, the Democrats had 46% and the Republicans had 39%. So the numbers actually do look a tad bit better for the Democrats this time around, considering that they're outperforming their 2018 numbers by 2% at this point in time. If the Democrats do end up bringing up the numbers up to 50%, we likely could see the Democrats either gain seats in the House of Representatives or hold on to every single one of them. They ended the last election with 235 seats. The Republicans ended up with 200. That 199 number is because of North Carolina's 9th district, in which they did not certify the House Representatives results, just because of the fact that they had said that there was election tampering, which caused the incumbent to step down, a whole special election, that ended up with a Republican victory. But as we head into 2020, right now, well, this is, I think, based off the numbers of retirements, so I don't really know. But Kevin McCarthy obviously took over for Paul Ryan, considering that Paul Ryan stepped down. He was the former majority leader, not Speaker of the House. Now Nancy Pelosi obviously is Speaker of the House, so she represents the Democratic Party. Steny Hoyer, my representative, is the Speaker of the House right now. Sorry, not Speaker of the House, Majority Leader, Democratic Majority Leader. So when you look at the 2020 U.S. House Representatives map, again, similar to what we saw in 2018, just disregarding the state of North Carolina. But it should be a very interesting House elections. There's not a lot of, money being poured into the race compared to what we saw in 2018. It's not exactly going to be this big anti-Trump wave movement, because that happens on the general election ballot. So there isn't as much attention towards the general election, but typically House elections do favor the Democrats in not necessarily midterm election years, but presidential election years. In the year that Donald Trump won, the Democrats gained 6 seats, and in 2012, when Barack Obama won, they gained 8 seats, and in 2008, this is the big one, the Democrats gained 21 seats, giving them 257 seats in the overall state. But in 2004, which is George Bush's election, his re-election bid, the Democrats lost seats. So since Obama, pretty much the Democrats have always gained seats in the presidential election year. That's likely just because of increased turnout in areas that otherwise wouldn't be increased. Even in a year that Donald Trump won, the Democrats gained 2 Senate seats and 6 representative seats. 2018, they lost 3 Senate seats, but gained 41 House seats. It was a pretty big gain for them. And now the Republicans are going to need to gain 22 seats. And right now, Cook Political Report does not give them enough toss-up seats in order to win. They would actually have to go ahead and take some of these lean and likely Democratic seats if they actually want a chance at the majority. In fact, Texas 23rd, North Carolina 6th, and 2nd are all Republican seats, which is why they're red down here, that were previously Republican and now are expected to go to the Democrats. So how realistic is it for the GOP to make gains in 2020? Well, sure, they'll probably carry some of these toss-up seats, possibly some in Iowa. They right now have 3 districts, and they also only had 1 prior to 2018, and the Iowa 2nd District is currently open. Maine's 2nd District, which might go to Trump this time around, ended up electing a Democratic congressman, and that was a huge thing because Donald Trump had won Maine's 2nd District by nearly, I think actually over 10%. In New Jersey, this one might be targeted, which is surprising. They have 11 Democratic representatives and 1 Republican representative. I mean, North New Jersey, I mean, that was practically insane. If you look at all the red seats, you see, well, you have incumbent reelected. That is the only Republican who was reelected. Democratic gain, Democratic gain, Democratic gain, Democratic gain. That actually ended up with 11 Democrats and 1 Republican. Now, that 3rd district is the one that pretty much will be targeted because it was the practically the closest. But when you throw in the factor of the incumbency into this 2020 election, it doesn't look like it's going to end up going to the GOP. If we look, the 3rd district up here, it was insanely close. In fact, I think there was a missed call on one of these races, but there were a number of incumbents who were defeated, and it ended up with the Democrats getting 11 seats in New Jersey. I mean, that's insane to me that they had such a large victory in that state. So another area that the Democrats might lose some seats, but probably won't, is the state of California. If you look at the Cook Political Report, they currently have 2 California seats, which California is crucial for the Democrats. I mean, this is a state that led the Democrats to a number of House Representative seats. There's 53 in total here, 21 and 25. So if we look at 21, the Democrats narrowly won. This was a miscalled race. TJ Cox was not the projected winner on election night. In fact, David Valadao, I think that's how you say it, the incumbent, he was the one who was projected winning on election day. And obviously that did not end up being the case. In 2018, there was also the 25th district, and this was a interesting race considering that Katie Hill, she used to be part of the United States House Representatives. The reason why this one is close is just because it's such a contested district, and the incumbent now has to resign even though she did resign even though she won by such a large margin. That was honestly such a big thing in the media if you guys heard about it, but now she's pretty outspoken through various platforms. But if we see a similar thing, I guess trend to what we saw in 2018, I don't think that this gives good news to the Republicans in 2020. They need to win 1 chamber of Congress. They're not going to take the House. The Senate is their best bet, which is why they're directing all of their money there. And the presidential election obviously is a top priority for them. If they don't win the presidential election, they need to retain 1 chamber of Congress. You can't get things done. You can get things done. You can't stop things when you have all 3 chambers of Congress. In fact, when Obama had that, sure, the Republicans did try to stop Obama's legislation. Obviously, the opposition party would always do that, the same thing the Democrats do to Donald Trump. But at the same time, they didn't really have that much power. And with a number of Senate rule changes under Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, again, that's only going to benefit the Democrats after this election. When you look at the House map, it's just the areas that just aren't beneficial. The areas that are becoming competitive, California, the Sun Belt, Texas, these are areas with changing demographics. Sure, the Republicans may be getting some gains in some of these Midwestern states, but keep in mind, they are gerrymandered to oblivion. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, not to say every state isn't gerrymandered, disregarding the states with 1 sole representative, but it is interesting to say that the Republicans, this is pretty much the only area that they're probably going to get gains in. Even if they do get any, there aren't that many there. Florida was an area that the Democrats gained seats in. South Carolina. I mean, areas with a heavy minority presence now that is starting to gain even higher minority presence in New Jersey. When you look, it is going to be interesting. So let's see. New Jersey's 7th district, currently held by a Democrat. I don't know why that one is filled in as a Republican seat then. That's interesting to me because they'd have nothing calling it. Oh, New Jersey's 2nd district, Jeff Van Drew, is considered lean Republican there. And then Andy Kim, that one is expected to go to the GOP. But they ended up with 11 Democrats, 1 Republican. But Michigan's 3rd district, I think, is really interesting. In 2018, Michigan ended up going for Justin Amash. If you don't know who that is, he is the only non-Democrat to vote for Donald Trump's impeachment in the United States House, joined by Mitt Romney in the United States Senate, who voted to convict President Trump. When you look, Justin Amash, he won by a pretty substantial margin. It wasn't necessarily the closest race. It was a Democratic wave year, Republican +6 margin. It would have been surprising if Justin Amash had lost this election. Now he is a registered independent who has not said whether or not he was going to caucus with the Republican Party or not. And that will make a difference when it comes down to this general election, because he is now running against a Republican and a Democrat. Now, if a lot of his Republican base that voted for Donald Trump ends up not supporting him and supports the Republican, it is possible he loses the election. But then again, it is possible that it splits off into a Democratic vote. If you look at the Cook Political Report, they currently rate this race as lean Republican. Realistically, Amash has a number of Republican voters. The Republican candidate will get a number of them as well. I think the Democrats might actually come out on top with this Michigan 3rd district race. Looking at all the likely Republican seats, I don't think that any of these, except for possibly Montana, will be targeted just because it's an open seat. But for the rest of them, they're pretty much all with incumbents. For the lean Republican seats, a lot of these, there's only 1 and 2 open seats, and only, I guess, 3 of them would realistically be competitive. And then in the Republican toss-ups, I actually think that the Democrats are going to target these. There's not as much attention on this, and if there's increased turnout amongst the Democrats, then obviously that's going to help them with these House races. So that pretty much wraps up my current analysis of the United States House Representative races. Once we get new data from Cook Political Report and more generic ballot and individual polling data, we will see what the prediction calls for. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all tomorrow.